Austin Lake and Susan Walker for Jones Walker and Lake, our closing attorneys. Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Hello, hello.
Hey, good morning. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then that way we can get started. Yes, it's giving me a little bit of a delay. For some reason. Okay, let's see if you guys can see my screen now. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. All
I
right. Is
can
this
see
okay
it.
to start with, Susan?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
So Thomasina asked us to look at the rain form changes that went into effect January 1st. It's not a huge number of significant changes, probably because the new laws go into effect on July 1 of every year. So a lot of the things that it seemed they were doing were cleaning up some things that maybe were missed in the July 1 edition, or some things just that the rain in its wisdom decided needed to be changed to keep up with the status of law and practice. So on the data input, and I'll have to disclaim on some of these listing forms because I don't use them. I'm not as familiar with them. But on a lot of the data input forms for residential, they've changed the designation of master bedroom to primary bedroom. I think was the most significant. I don't know why, except maybe master sounds patriarchal, and our society has changed in its view of those types of things. And you can see on the second page that they've added some additional things for energy efficiency primarily. But the only thing that they've struck is changing master to primary bedroom. And then look at some of those additional categories of things that your client can fill in. I know one agent on this call has had an experience with a client um, listing a security system that turned out was owned by the tenant. And so this is an important form to make sure the client understands that whatever they check there is likely to end up in the purchase agreement and likely to be something they have to convey. And if they don't own it, or if it's financed, they're probably going to have to pay it off before they close. And I just throw that in based on an experience that one of your agents and I have talked about in the last week. Green certification, sustainable, again, keeping up with modern trends, additional things that if your client has those types of features in their property can really be an added selling tool. And so take advantage of those and point those out to the clients. I think that's all I'll say about that form, Thomasina, unless you have more to add. Please, Thomasina and Lucy, please add if you have things, because you know boots on the ground what's more important about these listing forms.
Yeah. No, you're good. It's just the vacant. They've taken that off for security reasons. So this was not something that was required, but a lot of people were putting in. But unfortunately, when they did select it, it was showing up in certain places, and so it was showing that the property was vacant. And for security reasons, they have taken that away now. So the rest,
Smart.
you covered the rest on that. So I'm going to go to the next one, Susan, if that's okay. Is this one okay to go to?
Yes, I mean, multifamily, I don't know how many people list multifamily since that's more on bordering commercial, but the same thing that Thomasina just pointed out about vacant not being something that will show where it's on things that are publicly available. So it can be in the remarks. And I don't think there was anything else particularly significant about the multifamily one that I remember. Again, same thing about primary bedroom versus master bedroom. On the commercial one, apparently the only thing they changed was with respect to the green certification things, and then on financing options, instead of, I guess they removed none apparently, or added none as an option there. In other words, it's the seller offering financing, which you won't see in residential very often, but sometimes in commercial you will see it as one of the options. So they've made that more clear as whether it's offered or not offered.
Yep, and that's the only one for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you go through this one. And I'm monitoring the chat too, so just
okay. Not many people probably will run across a co-op. Co-op is a quasi condo, but you own stock. You don't actually own a deed to the property. So you won't see many. There are a couple in Virginia Beach and there are a handful in Norfolk. But if you do end up with a co-op, you're going to want to talk to one of your managers or one of us because there's some weird things about it. But anyway, on the disclosure for the receipt of the disclosures, there's no point in the seller having an initial block at the bottom because the seller's not the one receiving the disclosures. So they just remove that stray initial block. I think that's it on that one. On these disclosures of dual agency, it looks like they just removed the broker's signatures from these things is about all I noticed about that. And then they added signature lines for the parties, buyer or seller or tenant or landlord, but removed the agent signatures. So just a little form change there. Same with, I believe, commercial. Doesn't look like they've really changed anything there. And then Austin was going to talk about the purchase agreement changes.
Yep. Hello. A few changes made on the standard purchase agreement. First part, I think in paragraph, let's see, 8, they updated the reference to deed as opposed to being defined below. They've just put deed in lowercase, so it's no longer a defined term in the contract. Not all that earth shattering there. Then on paragraph 12, so with the no physical inspection addendum, so there's actually a place in there. So if your buyer has not seen the property, then that would need to be notated in the contract that the buyer has not physically inspected the property, or I guess if they have seen it, then you want to go ahead and check they have. And then if they have not physically inspected the property, then they are required to execute the no physical inspection addendum at the time the agreement is executed, which shall be incorporated into this agreement. So they've kind of made that change there to notate that a new form is also needing to be included there. Let's see, paragraph 13. C2 for the septic. So some more language there, that an accredited septic system inspector as defined by paragraph 59.1-3109 of the Code of Virginia, or an individual who holds a valid on-site sewer system operator, on-site sewage system installer, or soil evaluator license. And I think, were they required to be licensed before, Susan, or was that a?
Well, it looks like they broadened it because they crossed out the part right there where it says septic installer, evaluator, licensed by Commonwealth of Virginia, and just seemed to make it more specific that they have to have the particular licenses under the code. So I never knew that was controversial. So apparently Rain did. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So a bit of a change there. Let's see, paragraph 16. Oh, the disclosure. So they made, I think, with the RAIN form for the Virginia Residential Property Disclosure Act form, the July changes, I think, added the defective drywall to that section. So some minor changes in paragraph 16 there, acknowledging receipt of that form. They deleted the part by their initials below. It's not needed, not consistent with the language used in the RAIN contracts and form. Paragraph 16H for the defective drywall, that is now part of the residential disclosures. So I think they, removed it from here since it's already included in what's given out initially. The dispute resolution paragraph, that's a pretty big change. Before parties filed suit, you had to go through the process of mediation, and we've had many instances over the years where, well, how do you determine, whether one person, what do you do if somebody doesn't respond? making the efforts to go through that mediation process. So now they've put down, if within 30 days of written notice, the non-asserting party, basically the person who is not answering, does not agree to mediation, does not reach an agreement for a mutually acceptable date, time, and place, and or mediator, and then the asserting party shall have no further obligation to endeavor to mediate. So we'd run in instances where we would request mediation, and then we'd go back and forth on first the dates, the approved mediator, and so this sort of clears up, as long as you've done that, and if you don't have that time, if you don't have an agreement within that time period, then you can go ahead and file suit. And it does also add that written notices shall be given to the broker of both firms, which was good practice before, but now it's actually a requirement here. So that's a pretty big change. And then the signature page, it feels like most of these now, they've also added the additional protected classes. So you've now got sexual orientation, gender identity, status as a veteran, or any other protected class under federal, state, or local law. So they've made those changes there to, if there are any further protected classes, then those will also be included. And that was all the changes that were noted on the purchase agreement. Were there any questions in regards to that? No questions. Okay, moving on. The standard new construction residential purchase agreement. Again, that same change there regarding the change to deed in paragraph 6. The disclosures. So again, the residential property disclosures there, that same change that was made in the purchase agreement. The defective drywall again being removed. And again, the property classes, the additional classes, protected classes rather, being noted at the end on page 11 for the signature page there. The unimproved lot purchase agreement. Again, that same change to the word deed was made. Let's see, the disclosures, also the same thing on the disclosures and the protected classes. So yeah, the changes on these 3 forms are pretty consistent there as far as those items, the 3 items that they've addressed. So
I'll
that's
say something about unimproved lot. Austin and I had a good client that we've worked with for years who went with an unexperienced agent to put an offer in on an unimproved lot, and that agent didn't fill in any feasibility period. If you have not sold an unimproved lot before and it's your first time, please ask one of your managers or us to help you fill it out the first time you use it, because it may seem like a simple form, but if you don't put some protections in there, you can really expose your client, especially if it's a builder who's trying to build on a lot that's not necessarily, it's a lot that may be a little odd, and they need time to find out if the city's going to let them build on that lot. And if you don't put a feasibility period in there, your client could be exposed to losing their EMD and to getting sued. We had experience with that just this past week, and I just wanted to mention that can be it's a deceptively simple form, and needs some real thought though before putting an offer in using it. So sorry to add that.
No, I was going to say that myself, that the only people that we have that do this is commercial, which is Jean and her people. And then the mentors understand how to do it. So you would have to partner up with them. And they have Susan guiding them as well too. So when it comes to an unimproved lot, you've never done it before, please partner with a mentor or with Jean Rosalia, and they will make sure that this is all done correctly, and the attorneys will be involved in it as well. Yeah, super, super important. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I could add to that too, with just making sure that we're aware of, once that title is ordered, that we've actually gone gone through, and once the title comes back, that we've actually made sure to go through it with the client as well, because sometimes there's things listed on the plat and restrictions and things that they need to know about immediately. And if we're just sort of caught up in the fray and the paralegal gets the received notice that the title has come back, may not make it back to our desk. So we want to make sure that everybody's knows that, hey, go ahead, and this is something Susan and Austin need to take a look at and have a conversation with the clients on. So that's all I have there. And then Susan, are you going to do the standard listing agreement?
Sure, yes. I'm not quite sure why in paragraph 2, it seemed like just made a grammatical change. Property will not be available for marketing and showing until the beginning of the listing period.
It's because
opposed to
before
the
there
way it-
was, yeah, so, previously, and this is still allowed, but the interpretation was getting a little bit gray. So you can show a property as being available on marketing avenues such as, your Facebook, other social media, 48 hours prior to you actually putting it in. Now, there are stipulations on that, meaning I got the paperwork signed Friday at 7 p.m. saying that it's going to go on the market Friday, right? They dated it for Friday. They have it going in Friday, but guess what? My office is closed, right? So it's all dated. It says the listing is active as of Friday, but it's not in the MLS. You can market that Saturday, Sunday, and then of course it goes in the MLS Monday, right? When the admin come back. So RAIN allows you to market that on your social media and other accounts for those 2 days, because on Monday, that's when it gets put in. What you can't do is have a listing signed for Monday and market it Saturday, Sunday. And so the verbiage they had before was a little bit gray, so they had to change it all over. So you cannot market the property unless it's signed for the day that you're marketing it. And the reason is because you actually do not have signature or authorization from the seller to market it until that date. So they changed wording because people were getting a little confused, and they were actually marketing the property previous to it actually having the signature of the date that it was actually going on. So that's the
Glad
behind.
you knew that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, why did they change the grammar?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfectly good sense. Yeah. All right, and then on the second page, it looks like they're just, again, referring to, they're expanding not only that the seller acknowledges receipt of the CDIF, but also the summary of rights and obligations under the Virginia Residential Property Disclosure Act. That was probably implicit, but now they've made it express. And as Austin was mentioning on the contract, because defective drywall as of July 1 is no longer an affirmative disclosure and has been moved to the things that you just say, we're not giving you any information. They've struck that from the listing this time as well. They didn't do it July 1, but they've done it this time. And I think that's all that changed on the listing agreement, to my knowledge.
They did add chapter 7 under G. That used to
And frankly,
yeah.
I think chapter 7, I don't know what it is if it's not the Residential Property Disclosure Act. So,
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
It's an additional 3-page form that adds more doom and gloom to the buyer beware scenario that we have always required because you have Lucy checking your contracts. So it's nothing new for our office. We've always done it.
But
Yeah,
now they're
thank you,
requiring it
Lucy.
too, it looks like, right, Lucy?
Yeah, it's now RAIN is also requiring it, but I have always required it.
Yeah, but now it's required from just so everyone who may have joined us recently knows, this is not a Lucy rule anymore. This is a RAIN rule. So we were ahead of the rule.
just
before
for
the rule
my
was rule.
knowledge, is that an additional form to the RAIN consumer disclosure at the residential
Yes.
property disclosure form?
Yes,
Okay.
it's an additional 3 pages that covers a few more things in more detail than the regular residential property disclosure form does.
Okay.
And then Adam had asked a question, is there such a thing as an agency clause that allows the listing agent to show the property until the contingencies are over? I mean, you can show the property. Maybe I don't understand the question. You're allowed to show the property um, as long as you want. You have to let them know that it's under contract and contingent, but you can definitely, people can look at the property. You can take backup offers. Is that what you're referring to, Adam?
I know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to protect my buyer because the listing agent said she was still probably going to show the property just until the contingencies are over. I just want to obviously protect the client. His,
I mean, I don't typically see this in residential transaction contracts, but you could have an additional clause and put it in paragraph 20 or whatever now is a miscellaneous under the standard purchase agreement, saying that the seller shall cease all marketing efforts and not show the property to the prospective purchasers. Now, how do you enforce that? Who knows? But you could put that in the contract. If the seller violated it, would be a breach. But I don't ever see that. That's not normal in residential.
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And also, Susan, isn't it the case that during all these contingency periods, the seller can't just cancel a contract? It's always on the buyer during those timeframes to be able to terminate a contract and do the
Exactly, yeah.
release. The seller doesn't have that ability during those time periods anyway. Even if they find a better offer, they're obligated to see this one through to whatever end everybody agrees on.
Right, they can't just, yeah, exactly. I mean, they could show it to a zillion people and they could take 3 backup offers if they wanted, but if the buyer passes through all the contingencies and doesn't exercise the buyer's rights under those contingencies, then yeah, the seller has to perform.
Mhm.
Thanks
Yep.
for clarifying that, Lucy. Yeah,
All right. That's the only question I have so far on the chat.
okay.
Here's the additional
And then
signature page, which just has
And
this.
that's just exactly the protected classes added.
Mhm.
And, okay, on the CDIF, let me pull my bigger copy up here so I can look at it.
The first
Again, the
section is the protected classes. I'll
protected
put that for you
class-
when you're
protected
looking.
classes again.
Mhm.
Right, there we go. And they also just changed the website references to the Department of Health under paragraph 16 for both the septic and then also under methamphetamine, they changed the website, Virginia Department of Health website reference as well. They took out the defective drywall reference. And I think those were the only changes to that. Everything else looked the same. I wasn't sure, honestly, I had never seen this form before, and this is where I lack some knowledge of your listing processes. But the only thing I noticed was just changing, it was adding the protected classes. So,
Yeah, and this is for a non-rain listing agreement or exclusive marketing. So some people will just we don't do it at Keller. Some people will just add it into certain areas for a fee. Also, if there is one for a for sale by owner, you could actually because it says used a lot in REO sales. Sometimes on that. It just depends. A lot of REO companies will not actually sign this, believe it or not. So it just depends on the actual. So the REO companies have a really hard time wanting to sign this. But for sale by owners is a good one that would actually utilize it. And then for those that are outside of Keller Williams that just do certain types of agreements to possibly just boost someone's listing that's not with the MLS, believe it or not. So there are those for sure. And I'm going to go to the next one, which is the escalation addendum.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that form. The change, wasn't all that I didn't think material. They changed on line 22. The seller and their buyer shall initial the revised purchase price as increased pursuant to the purchase price escalation addendum. So the escalation addendum is already provided and saying that the buyer is going to go, is willing to go up to this price. And then if it turns out a competing offer is received, then they've added that the loan amount and the down payment would also be adjusted. So if you had whatever was in the purchase agreement, that they're going to put 10% down, whatever the purchase price is, then not only will you initial and change the purchase price, you would also adjust the loan amount and the down payment. And yeah, that was not a huge change there. And then they deleted the word additional under for the additional terms there. So slight change to that form.
All right, and then this is when Lucy was talking about Chapter 7 earlier, summary of rights and obligations of sellers and purchasers under the Virginia Residential Property Disclosure Act. This is largely unchanged, other than in a few paragraphs on page 2 under Historic District. Again, just backing up beyond just the changes from this particular form, the seller doesn't have to disclose to the buyer if the property is in a historic district. And where I find that this really matters is if you're representing a flipper and they buy a property that they somehow don't know is in a historic district, and they go to rip the roof off or replace the siding, and then they suddenly realize that there are all these time-consuming procedures that they have to go through. So that's not new, but it just is expanding the things that the buyer should look into if they're buying a property in a historic district. Stormwater detention, I think that was probably removed in the July 1 changes of the legislature and just now being updated on this form. And then other than that, just the changes of the titles of a couple of the paragraphs.
Now this is, instead of the sight unseen addendum, it is the no physical inspection addendum. And that's probably to make it consistent with what actually happens under these instances. Nowadays, everybody's looking at the property online. An agent's you're gonna be able to go out there and show the client the property on Zoom. But it's now a no physical inspection. And so in that second paragraph, the buyer is purchasing the property without the buyer. I used to say personally, but now it's physically inspecting the property in person. So it's perhaps redundant there, but it's a physical in-person inspection now that they've changed to that. So that was the change there.
All right. I did not go over any of the leasing forms when I was reviewing these, to be honest with you. So do you all do any property management in-house at your company?
Yes, we do. We
Some
do.
agents do.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just go through it and show them. I mean, they can see it at least. Yeah, we have 3 property managers on here right now. So they do have their own individual forms, but I still want them to see this because it's changes that have to be known as well. So I'll just have them look at this and leave it up for them for a few minutes. It's pretty self-explanatory. It just took out some things and added others. It wasn't anything earth-shattering except for the one that we already sent them that had stated what they have to do, and it's getting formatted by a broker for them. And then here's the lease agreement. And it's pretty much within the same thing. Now they have this that has changed, that they put instead of the greater of it's either or. So that has changed. And then instead of provided, however, they put notwithstanding the foregoing. So it's just a verbiage change in that. And they put in accordance with VRLTA.
Yeah, and Thomasine, I think I'll add on that. I had,
Oh, good.
I did realize, I saw the change in the code that now it's explicitly 10% or, a lesser amount that's added in the lease. And that was a July, well, it may have been an October change. Before, leases would have escalations for, rent or maybe a late fee due each day. And so the courts around here known for disregarding what's in a lease, and they're going to, and I repeat that 10% of the overdue amount is all you're going to be able to get for a late fee. It doesn't matter what your lease says, and now that's in the code. So the judges are now enforcing the law as opposed to making their own.
Yes, Christine, even if your company doesn't use those forms, it does apply because I do believe that is a law, correct, Austin?
On the late fees,
Yes.
yeah, that is
That
in the
doesn't matter
code.
what form you use, that is a Virginia law now.
Right, yeah, the code
Good
will
question.
override your lease.
Very good question, Christine. Very good question. Yeah, doesn't matter. Hold on, we get to the next one, Austin. I'll let you kind of look at these if there, that was really the only thing that was huge that I can
Yeah.
remember, unless there's something else that you,
No, I mean the protected classes, but yeah, I didn't. There's a definition of emergency for clarification, which I think is helpful. That was a question that had come up. Well, how do you define or determine what an emergency is?
okay. And then here's the home warranties. It talks a little bit about that with this
Mhm.
contract though. That's more so with the contract, not really a state. So there's that one. And then I do believe that might be, that's going to be the same as the other one. I just want to make sure. I believe that's about it. I think that's the end of those. Do you have any other input or anything that you wanted to tell the company today, Susan or Austin? Since I know we went over, usually we go over a little bit of information, but I didn't know if you had any stories you wanted to tell us today, because you always have some pretty good stories. Mostly from us, but you know, there's other out there.
Well, we do have, poor Austin had to deal with this last week, but if sort of a going from the moral of the story backwards, if you have a listing and the sellers are divorcing, please make sure that we or the settlement agent knows that fact, because that makes a big difference with regard to the proceeds. And if sometimes we receive forms from, you know, like last week we got one from the title and escrow company. We were on the buyer side, but the form did not make it clear that the sellers were divorcing, and it created a big hassle because we wrote the check out to the husband and wife jointly, and apparently that was not what their separation agreement said, but no one had told us about that. And Austin got an earful with not so nice language from the woman when the check was mailed to her ex-husband. So please do let us know if you have a listing. It also just keeps it from being embarrassing. I mean, I've walked into the conference room before with two people sitting there not looking very happy with each other, and I go through the closing and realize they're getting divorced. And then, you know, are they agreed on the disposition of the proceeds? Is it 50-50? Do they still have a joint checking account they want it to go into? Is there a court order? Is there a separation agreement or something that we need to know about? So yeah, give us a little heads up on that if you happen to know that your clients are separating or divorcing.
Oh, very good, very good. Christine,
I think that's the only thing I wanted to add.
Christine wants to know, do any of the forms clarify what an assistant animal is? What can it be? What you need to prove that you have one? I thought Susan's eyes were going to fall out of her head. What was that, Susan? Have you had some issues with assistant animals?
No, it's more just the condo associations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you really see it coming up, is when somebody buys a condo and they want to know if they're going to be able to bring their emotional support animal or something like that. And I don't really represent associations, but I know for a while there they were scared to say no sometimes, but I don't know if the trend has changed at all. We can try to look into that, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. If you have any information on, you can, if you want to send it to me, I'll send it out to
Yeah.
Christine and her group.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Just to see. Christine, did you have any other questions? That was a good question. Well, it also, I don't think I know what that means, Christine. Do you want to unmute yourself, hon?
I think
Okay.
she's saying that the assistant animal, go ahead.
So we were told at one point in time that an assistant animal is not classified as a pet, but yet the condo associations are stating one animal.
Hmm.
So how do you do that if they have two? One's a pet and one's an animal.
Like an emotional support animal, you mean?
Right.
And then one's
Maybe before the next meeting, we'll try to talk to Sarah Palomera or one of the other attorneys who does pretty much exclusively association representation and see if we can find out what the, what some of those association laws are and what they've been doing with that.
Yeah.
I
that'd
don't
be
know.
Right,
I mean, that's
right,
just-
because a buyer also has that same problem though, if they're buying a property and they have an assistant animal for service, or emotional support, but yet they also have a previous animal.
Yeah. Speaking of animals, that was
Right.
Yeah,
perfect timing.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It was perfect timing.
Right on cue.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I'll have them look into that and we'll get that back to you, Chris. It was a really good question, so I wanted to address it for sure because, like you said, it can go both ways for rent or buy, especially with the condos. So, thank you for that question. Thank you, Susan and Austin. Thank you
All
guys
right.
so much. I really appreciate it. We're going to wrap it up with just a few things. One, I just want everyone to know that you can come right here to the events tab. And you can look, this is in our KW Hilltop Family Facebook, and you can see all of our training that we have going on. You can also click these three little dots here, and it will give you different things, such as you can export the event. If you're on your phone, there's one for it to add to your calendar. So you could actually, click on it to add to your calendar if you're on your phone. I'm on my computer right now. But there's plenty of things that you can do. Obviously, you can't edit this, but these three little buttons here will give you all kinds of different ones where you can export it or you can add it to your calendar from your phone. So that is on there just for you guys to see so that you can make sure that no matter what, you know exactly what is happening when it comes to our events and our trainings. It's all on there for the whole year. We'll be adding a few more as well. I also want to do some highlights. So these came out late last night and hopefully some of y'all saw them. But this is congratulations to everybody. So this is Munesh Nikita Homes. They were the top closing team of the month by volume. So congratulations, Nikia Munesh, congratulations. And they're doing such a great job. They're trying to double their volume this year. So big push for them. That's a huge, huge feat for someone to want to double their volume. So they want to go for 20 million this year. And I am super excited for them because they definitely can hit it. They can definitely hit it. And then we have for top closing team of the month by units. We have Jean, Rosalia, and Chrissy Hagler for Team Rockstar. So congratulations, ladies, on top closing team of the month by units. I will say that these two ladies are looking into growing their team right now as well. They're working on their goals too. They haven't put a goal for volume yet, but they definitely have put a goal for growing the team in numbers. So for those of you that have not set a goal yet this year, you're late. You're late. Everyone set their goal around November of last year in December. And it's okay if you haven't, because we have meetings and we have classes that will teach you how to set a goal. So just make sure you attend those. They're in the events tab. There's one tomorrow actually. So just make sure you attend those ones tomorrow at 9 a.m. Listing agent of the month is Brian O'Donnell. That's by volume. So congratulations, Brian, for being the listing agent of the month. He had over $1 million in listings. So he did really well with his listings. And then we have by units, Liz Connor. Congratulations, Liz. And I saw Liz, I think, put up another listing last night. So congratulations. And Liz is well on her way to putting more listings on, this is really hard to do because right now listings are so scarce. So they are really scarce. It's really hard to find them. The inventory is so low. So this is super, super hard right now comparative to any other ones. It is really, really hard to be listing agent of the month by unit. So congratulations, Liz. That was a hard one to achieve. So congratulations. They're all hard, but that one's super hard right now. Jean Rosalie is commercial agent of the month by volume and also by units. Congratulations, Jean. Congratulations. And there's her one by units. Congratulations. Our closing agent of the month by volume. So this is anything that closed. So all by volume. This is listings and buyers together by volume. Kara Evalanco. So congratulations, Kara, by closing agent of the month by volume. Congratulations. That is all we have. So we do have one for Sarah Grace's. She's not on this Facebook, so it's on the other one, but she was the closing agent of the month by units, So she's also on here. I was just on the wrong Facebook page, but she's on here as well. And both Kara and Sarah Grace, along with Holly and Samantha and a few others, they're all Keller Williams, North Carolina and Virginia. So if you ever have a North Carolina, you can refer to them. We have a few others that are also in North Carolina, and it's super easy to get your North Carolina license. You can actually get it online. And if you want to have more information of how to do that, you can reach out to Kara, Samantha, or Holly, or Carla, or me. Any of us can help you with that to get your North Carolina license. So super proud of you guys. Great job. A couple other things that I just want to go over, and then I'm going to give Lucy the floor as well. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so that you all can see me on here. Okay, so a few things. One, our office has almost doubled last year compared to this year with volume and units. So you all need to give yourselves a huge round of applause. So we have multiple things to be happy for. We actually were very close to 90 million in sales volume, which is really, really good. So we were at 87 million. I want to congratulate you all on that because that is huge. For those of you that have been here for a minute, you know very well that that takes a lot to go from, it was 86,232,000. Just for a little insight, the previous year was 49 million. And we actually hit a goal of the last time that we were above or even close to this was 2010. So we hit more volume than we've hit in 10 years. 10 years, ladies and gentlemen. Unmute yourselves right now and clap so that everyone can hear, because this was amazing. Congratulations to you all on that. You did a great job. Super proud of you. Then on top of that, as far as units, you did 387 units. Again, the most that has been done in 10 years. 10 years ago in 2010, you did 466. Mind you, that was quite a long time ago. And I am super proud of every single one of you for that. So congratulations. Because of these goals that are amazing, we are going to plan on an award ceremony for Keller Williams Hilltop. We may have to do it virtually, depending on how COVID is, but we're going to plan it. It's going to be in March. It's going to be around the first or second week. We're getting with some of our vendors right now for dates, and it will be posted, but we are going to have an award ceremony. And you guys have done such a great job that you deserve that. You deserve that. And of course, there'll be food and drinks. And if we can have it in person, and if we can only do 5 to 6 people at a time, we can possibly lengthen that out, and maybe have 10 people per hour come, and something to reward you. Even though it's COVID, we're going to find a safe way to be able to reward you guys and have you come in and have that. So super proud of you guys for that. Congratulations. You did a wonderful, just bang up job in 2020. And then 2021, 100 million is our goal. We're going to do 100 million in sales. Okay. 100 million. That's only 14 million more than what we've done last year. So 100 million, and we can do that. We can do that. Absolutely. All right. So the other things I want to talk about are office hours. So don't forget, due to COVID, we have adjusted office hours. Usually we were open 24/7, but we are not due to COVID. So right now we are open 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday. And then at 5 o'clock, we shut down for cleaning. And then on Friday, we're open from 9 to 1:30. And then we shut down for cleaning. And then the weekends we are. Now there's one Saturday a month that Raymond is doing an in-person class, and that's in our events tab, that he will help you set up your your command and get it linked with Facebook and do all kinds of things with your website. So he's doing that in person on Saturday so that we have the opportunity for everybody to come in. We got a lot of feedback that the in-person people would like to do Saturdays because a lot of people are showing property throughout the week. So there are Saturdays once a month that he's going to do that, and you're able to come in here for that. So you'll be able to access the office that day as well. And then as far as the new contracts, they're already uploaded into Brokerment and formatted, so you can start utilizing them. They've been there for a little bit now, so you're definitely able to do that. You can start utilizing them. For CE courses, I saw on our Facebook where a lot of people were kind of talking about that. Remember, with Keller Williams, it's free CE through Mosley. And also your post licensing is free. You just go on there and you're able to do it virtually. And you just put in Keller Williams and they'll give it to you for free. And then we also have at least one, in some of the months, 2 CE courses that will be online for you guys to be able to see that as well. I tell everybody, do the free online in a packet with Mosley, get your CE done, but still come to the classes and you can learn some things. But definitely do it with Mosley, get it done and over with, and then come to the classes still, and you can kind of learn some things, because the attorneys and the insurance companies, they go into it further. So they dive into that a lot further as far as what's going on with it. Commercial, just a reminder that you cannot do commercial, that you would have to go through our commercial division. Our E&O insurance does not cover you for commercial. It only covers a couple of people that are in, that's Cindy, me, and Jean right now. So you have definitely got to go through her to do commercial. You cannot do it on your own. You're not even covered with it to do it on your own. But as you heard from Susan, just doing land is rough. So you can imagine the things that you would possibly not know about commercial to move forward on that. And then on top of that, we also have the teams. So we have a couple people who are now wanting to start teams. We do have it's a contract that Susan has written up. And if you do decide that you want to start a team, we can offer you that contract to look at, to utilize for your team. But there's some rules with Keller Williams with teams. So one rule is, if there's anyone who's already at the company and you want to put them on your team, then you have to get permission to do that, number one. Number two, DPOR states that if you are a team, you must use your team name on all advertisements. So let's say that Jordan wanted to start a team. She wanted to call it Hoskins Inc. And Jordan said, Kara, do you want to be on my team? And Kara said, yeah, I love being on your team, girl. And then Kara was on her team, right? Kara could not just put Kara Evelanco anymore on her signs or her advertisement. It would have to say Hoskins Inc. She can put Kara Evelanco, Hoskins Inc., but it has to have that on there. And then all the signs for teams also has to have Keller Williams on it, right? So if Jordan started a team called Hoskins Inc., she needs to put at Keller Williams, by Keller Williams, in Keller Williams, something that has Keller Williams on there, because DPOR says you have to have the name of your brokerage and the brokerage's phone numbers. You have to have that on all of your signs as well. I'm using Jordan because one day she swore to me she would never, ever do a team. So it's easy to use her because she doesn't want to do a team. She likes to have a group of people, but probably would never call them a team. So it's easy to use her to do this. And then on top of that, there's a lot of things you can do for a team with CAP, right? Well, with Keller Williams and the CAP, if you brought in somebody from the outside world and you want to put them on your team and give them a half CAP, there's certain criteria in place that they have to meet in order to do that. And you have to talk to me and I'll go into more detail with you on that. But on top of that, you have to guarantee their CAP. Now, what does that mean? That means if Jordan says, hey, John, and he's at Remax, John, you want to come on my team and I'll give you a half CAP. Okay, so John comes in, he hits the qualifications to have a half CAP. John does not hit his half CAP, right? So CAP is 25, so half CAP is 12.5. John hits 10,000 towards his CAP. Well, guess who guaranteed it? Raise your hand, Jordan. It was Jordan. And guess who has to pay that extra? Raise your hand again, Jordan. It's Jordan. So yes. So the best thing to do, honestly, if you are going to build a team, is to keep the CAP the same, unless you know someone that's coming in that is like, hitting it out of the park. So like, if you had someone coming in who's already doing, 9-10 million in business, that's a different story, right? They're going to hit the CAP. But if not, keep the CAP the same and continue on. But I will help you all with that. So if you do want to have a team, or even are looking at futuristically, a good idea is to set up a time with me to talk, so I can go through all the ins and outs with you, And it's super easy now because I have a Calendly and it's on all my emails. It was in the Facebook group. And if you want it again, I will text it to you because I think everybody should have my Calendly. And then that way you can just pick a day and a time to meet. Now, if you don't have Calendly, you are missing out, and you definitely need to get it because it's made my life so much easier. But definitely get Calendly. If you don't have it, take a look at it. There's some free forms for Calendly. I bought the Tippy Top, which wasn't very expensive at all, but it has helped me tremendously. And then you guys can kind of, schedule with me. If you don't have it, just text me and I'll send it to you. Super easy. I'll send you my link. With that, I also want to talk to you guys about your key fobs. If you do not have a key fob, please come in and get a key fob from Carla. The doorbell rings while I'm here at least 7 times a day. And if I'm in a meeting like I am now, like the doorbell's ring twice and I cannot get up to let you in, and Carla's on the phone, or we're all in meetings, we can't let you in. So please get a key fob. I keep mine on my phone. It's in the back of my phone so that no matter where I go, right there it is. It's on my phone. And I'm able to get in and out, because we can't always stop to let you guys in. That's what the key fobs are for. So if you don't have one, please come and get it. If you have forgotten your key fob, please call one of the admin and let them know you're on your way so that they know to look out for you. If you just wait till you get here and ring the doorbell, sometimes we're all slammed like this, with this meeting. So make sure that you either have a key fob, and if you forget it, just make sure that you call the admin and let them know that you are on your way for someone to help you or let you in. And I do believe that is all that I had on here. And so Lucy, I'm going to let you talk and then I will let Carla talk. But Lucy, you have the floor, love.
Hi, everybody. I want to open it up first for questions for me, because Susan and Austin went over all of the big things. So I want to make sure I'm covering any questions you all have at the moment, with everything turning and burning as the new year starts. Beyond that, I am currently working on doing your cheat sheets and filling out the samples of all the new forms for you. And once I get those done, we will do a couple of Zoom trainings with all the new forms and how we need them to be filled out to be compliant and stay out of our orange jumpsuits. So that's really what I have. So do we have any questions?
No questions? None? When is your next contract class? Adam, right now they're recorded and you can get to them anytime you want. Lucy and I are going to come up with another one. There wasn't much changes to the contracts this time. With the mentors, they all know what the changes are and they're doing individual contract classes. So check with your mentors. They're going through their contracts with you as well. And in July, Lucy is going to do a whole new recorded one with the major changes, because we have a lot of major changes in July. We didn't have very many major changes right now. And so the mentors are taking care of the contracts classes. For those of you that do not have a mentor, please let me know if you want to pop into one of their classes, because they do it virtually and in person. So let me know, or you can let them know. It's the 3 that are doing it right now that have agreed to do them with their mentees. Jordan, Kara, and Holly have agreed. So feel free to reach out to them as well and ask them. They're going to go ahead.
As soon as I get the new forms filled out properly,
Yeah,
we'll replace them in the Facebook group, in the files. We'll take the old ones out and put the new ones in. And you'll have those cheat sheets to refer back to for filling out your information.
Yeah, and for right now, the mentors have theirs filled out. So you can go to your mentor for those. They'll help you with that. And again, if you don't have one, just let me know or talk to one of them and they'll give you a copy. They have them because they've already written contracts on them as well. Make sure that you're using the new contracts. You cannot use the old ones anymore. They won't be accepted in the system. So today forward, make sure everything is written on the new contracts. You cannot use the old ones. They won't be accepted because they are not correct. So get them from Brokerment. Make sure that you're utilizing them correctly when it comes to that. I have Carla here, and she's going to talk to you guys a little bit about the DA and signing the DA and how this works with you getting paid, because she'll send a DA to you, but just so you know, at 5 o'clock, if she doesn't have that DA back, she can't process your money. She can, but it'll be the same as processing it the next day. Is it after 5 or after 3?
It cuts me off exactly 5 PM. So it has to be
Okay,
done
so it has to be
before
done.
5.
Yeah, because it takes her like 30 minutes to process it. So 4:30. You can come on this side, Carla. 4:30. I'll let her sit here. And then she's going to talk to you all about listings and how they need to be in a certain time, because if she gets them late, she can't put them in either. It takes about an hour to put a listing in. So she's going to talk to you about that as well. And then I'm going to talk to everybody again about the weekends and evenings, because I found out a few things that Carla, she's in trouble. She's going to be in the hot seat. So I'm going to let her talk to you guys about DAs and the listings, and then I'll pop in and talk to you, and then we'll be done.
Okay. All right. So yes, the DA, it's important for you to sign it because that's you saying everything is correct. I've done the split correct with the company. We've taken care of a referral if it's owed to another person. So once you get that, please take the opportunity to review it, sign it. If you feel that there is a question on it, call me so we can go over it. I can be in the middle of processing, sending you your money. If the clock strikes 5, it kicks me out. And it's the next day going out. Deposits, always deposit the following business banking day. So anything I send on Friday does not deposit until Monday. So help me with that so we can get you all paid quickly.
And the listings.
Listings. It does take a little bit of time because there's a lot of steps other than just entering all the information. We are also messaging you that it's saved as incomplete so that you can review and make sure everything is accurate. Sometimes we do make an error. Sometimes you're in a hurry and you type down 3 bedrooms and you mean to change it to 4. And then when you review the listing, you realize it's still 3. So that's the purpose of that. It allows you to upload your photos and then we can make it active. We also need the time to upload all the disclosures. So, try to get them in. Like I said, it takes at least 30 minutes. So, earlier in the morning is the best time to give time for everybody to do their job and get it reviewed and the pictures ready to go in the afternoon. Change in the MLS. They are no longer using master bedroom, master bathroom, or owner. So since they've made that change in their forms and descriptive, when you're doing your public remarks, you may want to follow suit and use the word primary, because that is what they're using to describe those type of rooms. Just an FYI. 2 other little things. I know everybody's excited to see where they ended up at the end of the year and wants to know what their 1099 income is going to be. Not that you're in a hurry to pay Mr. Taxman, but we have a lot to do to end our year and start a new year as well. So that information will be coming to you shortly. I love you all, but there's a lot of you and one me to get answered that question of what your year end is. Circle of Excellence Awards has been extended. Those reports aren't due until February 1st. I know we'll be completing a lot of those this year. So that's awesome and amazing, but give us a little bit more time to get those numbers together for you. All right, great. Love y'all.
Wonderful. All right. And then just a couple more things. One, Carla is not supposed to be working on nights and weekends, right? Because we can't have Carla work 24/7. We have 100 agents and we only have one Carla. And we have another admin now who is Caitlin, which is wonderful, but we can't have them working on nights and weekends. Most companies don't work on nights and weekends for their admin. So they have to have some downtime. But I noticed, even though I've said this over and over again, that I keep seeing things getting posted on nights and weekends. Now, Carla is so sweet and she's like, don't tell on me and has you guys do it, but you don't tell on her, but then you post that you got a new listing and guess who sees it? Me. And then I realized that, hey, you guys are posting this and you've asked her to do this for you on a night or weekend. So we want to make sure that that is something that we're not doing. We're not doing. We're not asking Carla to do things on nights and weekends. So let's give her a second to breathe on her nights and weekends, and don't ask her after 5 to do anything. And then last thing, I just want to pop up. I'm going to share my screen and just say happy birthday and happy work anniversary to everybody. And at that point, I'm 10 minutes over, so I want to make sure that are you able to see my screen? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't tell if you were able to see it or not. So, all right, Elijah Merchant, happy 1-year work anniversary. Happy 3-year work anniversary to Ann Pierce. Happy 1 year to Russell. Happy 1 year to Kara. Now, Kara's been with me a longer time than 1 year, but here it's 1 year. And a lot of these people have been in the business for a lot longer than a year, but just at Keller Williams. Also, a lot of people have been asking about this, my unrecruitable KW. If you go to my Facebook, you can actually just underneath of it, click and it'll add it to yours if you want it. It's actually going all over the US now, which is great. I didn't create it, somebody else did, but it is going everywhere. So if anyone wants to put that around their picture, have at it. Speaking of pictures, do not forget Jordan DiCaprio will take your headshot for free. So Jordan has offered our office. He's an agent with our office too. He will take your headshot for free. And then he also does listing photos, which are great. He has the most listing photos in our area. So we are lucky to have him. Real Producer, make sure you check your junk mail, and it's probably in there if you have not already seen it, for those of you that made the top 500, which I had announced that as well. And then let's go through and just say, oh, Shelly, happy 1 year work anniversary, Shelly. And then let's go through and do the birthday. So Nicole, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And Tiffany, happy birthday. I think Tiffany's was on the, no, hers hasn't come up yet. Hers hasn't come up yet. No, it was the 10th. It was the 10th. I thought so. I thought Tiffany's already passed. It was the 10th. So 2 days ago was Tiffany's. On the 20th is Christy's. So happy early birthday, Christy. The 21st is Olivia's. Happy early birthday, Olivia. And then we had some new family members. So Jessica Rinda has come back. She was at KW before I came, and now she is back with us as well. And then we also had Chris Rivers, who's on here. He joined us. He just received his real estate license. We signed another gentleman last night, or yesterday as well. His name is Kerry, and he'll have his announcement later today. And then here is Jordan. He's the one who will do your pictures for free for your headshots. And you guys should have his info. If not, you can come here and click and go to his Facebook page and message him. He also does all of our listing photos as well. Very cheap for you to utilize him, but not cheap work. So happy birthday month, Jordan. His is on the 26th. And that is the end of our meeting. I apologize for going over by 13 minutes. We had a lot of good information today, though. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and happy 2021. Our first meeting is done and on the books, and y'all did a great and wonderful job in 2020. I love you all, and I will see you later. Mwah.